Thanks for tuning in to Treetop Environmental News Weekly. I'm Carbohydrate. This is the final week of December 2013. I'll be covering marine life on the east coast of the USA, the Lubicon Lake Nation's current struggle, recently released research by Dr. Will Russell about redwoods, and more. The east coast of the United States had experienced the worst marine mammal deaths on record in 2013. The death toll continues to rise, but already over 1,000 bottlenose dolphins and over 800 manatee that were mostly in Florida have perished from viruses, collisions with watercraft, and pollution. An alarming number of deaths are from mysterious causes. The sea life collapse has been heeded by many Floridians who have banded together from all walks of life to fight for the survival of their local marine life. In Mexico, President Peña Nieto has signed a law against the will of his citizens that will allow foreign corporations to drill for oil in Mexican territory for the first time since 1938. As rioting took place in Mexico City, opposition legislators attempted to stop last week's vote by all means, including piling up chairs to block the entrance to the Congress building. In Alberta, Canada, a court has denied the Lubicon Lake Nation their right to defend their lands from fracking and oil production, including pipelines. The Lubicon Lake Nation have never entered into treaty or ceded any of their lands and therefore have never surrendered their sovereignty to exercise their aboriginal and inherent rights on their lands. The outcome of the December 16th court decision sends the message to those defending the lands from corporate invasion that the law will not be on their side. The blatant denial of Lubicon Lake Nation's rights indicate that the governments of Alberta and Canada, along with corporations who collaborate with them, have no respect for Aboriginal rights that are entrenched within the Constitution. The Lubicon Lake Nation have said the injunction decision will not stop them from protecting their lands and that they will move forward with an appeal. On December 10th, Dr. Will Russell, Associate Professor of Environmental Studies at San Jose State, released the findings of their study that dispel 3 common misconceptions about redwoods. The first myth is that young managed redwood forests sequester carbon faster than old-growth redwood forests. Along with other major scientific bodies, his team concurred that ancient redwood forests store at least 3 times more carbon above ground than any other forests on Earth, and the rate of sequestration continues to increase with age of redwood trees. The second myth, that redwood forests need to be thinned to reduce fire hazard, is not true. The unusual characteristics of redwoods need to be considered when managing them to address fire. For example, redwoods sprout when they are cut or scarred, while most other trees used for lumber don't have this ability. When redwoods are thinned, the resulting sprouts around the cut stumps actually create fire hazard, because the sprouts form a brushy mass that increase fuel on the forest floor. Redwoods are also unusual because of their thick bark, which makes larger redwoods extremely resistant to fire. The only redwoods killed by the Lockheed and Martin fires of the last decade were less than 7.5 inches in diameter. The larger trees, though burned and fire-scarred, regenerated by sprouting along their trunks. The third myth, that thinning redwood forests accelerates recovery of old growth. Today's more precise research shows that different old growth characteristics appear at different stages when forests naturally regenerate after being clear-cut. Yet, even after 100 years, some old-growth characteristics are still absent, such as the return of key native redwood understory plants. Despite being freezing cold here, as well as other parts of the northern hemisphere, last month was the warmest November on record globally, according to new analysis from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Temperatures were 0.78 degrees Celsius above the average November in the 20th century. Global temperatures are on the rise due to climate change caused primarily by burning fossil fuels, but also by deforestation and land use change. The details of this week's stories and more news can be found on our Facebook page, Treetop Environmental News, brought to you by the Trinidad Tree Sitters, also on Facebook. We have been struggling to liberate the land from Green Diamond Resource Company to prevent the clear cutting of redwoods. Have a wonderful week.